Welcome everyone to the first ever episode of On the Block.
Yeah, welcome everybody. We're super excited about launching this new series that we've created. I know, Toby, this was your vision for what we want to create and stuff, setting standards. So, do you want to briefly tell everybody what this series is all going to be about?
Yes, this is an idea that came about where we thought there probably wasn't enough of this in this space of this kind of thing. Obviously, we'll delve into mine and Mark's backgrounds a little bit, but we're used to doing AMAs with projects and such, and they're very much scripted and follow a certain flow as you're getting to know the project. But on the block, it's been the vision of On the Block is basically to bring in guests onto the show, get to know them on a personal level, get to find out what makes them tick, find out how they've got themselves into crypto, and hopefully we can make it a really interesting series for you guys.
Yeah, I think just following up on what Toby said there, like for me, if anybody's followed our AMAs previously, like I always like to delve into the background of the people behind the projects, because it doesn't matter what a project's trying to create, what problem they're trying to solve. If you don't have the team behind the project that are going to drive it and make it happen, it's going to fail right from the beginning. So I think for us, it would be nice to focus on this area of crypto, so we can speak to project owners, we can speak to influential people within the space, and find out more about them. What makes them tick, what is their background, what makes them want to be in this space, and what drives them to be bigger in the future. So we're going to try and develop it from, obviously, like Toby's alluded to, this one is going to be like a nice introduction to us as the host, so you can try and find out a little bit more about us and our background and why we're in the space. And then we can then develop that and bring in thought leaders, project owners, and hopefully later down the line, bigger people within the space. So my dream would be to get somebody like CZ in, so that he can take us through him and his background. There's so much information out there and so many interviews with people like himself about the crypto space now and what's going on now and in the future and how we're going to make money, this, that, and the other. But there's not enough information, about these people personally. So we'd like to delve into that personal element side as well.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Because one thing you probably find a lot in DeFi is a lot of anonymity. And there's a lot of people hiding behind profiles that aren't necessarily them and stuff like that. But behind the scenes in the DeFi scene, especially, is a lot of in moving parts. A lot of these so-called alpha groups and stuff. And there's a lot of anyone who's been in this space a little while know there's a lot of stories behind things that happen. So, hopefully we can bring on some real interesting people. We can get to know them, get to know some stories about how things really happened. And yeah, as like Mark said, as we get bigger and bigger, hopefully we can bring on some real big people and get to know them, get to know more about them rather than the projects themselves.
Have you got anybody in mind, Toby, you think you'd like to interview, find out more information about?
You know what? Like sometimes, it's people that you're not expecting that can be like really quite interesting. Like, so I'm just looking forward to get to talk to all guests really, and like I mean, you shared a podcast with me the other day and about Rodri Giggs, and for anyone who doesn't know, Rodri Giggs is a Welsh. His brother's a famous footballer, Ryan Giggs. And there's things that happened in his life, and the podcast was just a little bit about that. And I didn't have that down as something I would have watched, but I ended up watching it from start to finish because he was a real interesting character. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the surprises that we get along the way.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think there's so many lessons to be learned from everybody and some interesting stories. Like we've all got stories within the crypto space of rug pulls and things that we've done wrong, things that we've learned from, funny stories along the way, the corruption, all that type of thing is like some juicy gossip. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring to the table as well as we expand on the series and get to know more and more people, including influencers. So those that are prepared to come and share their story about how they got into space, what them, if we can get them to open up about the money side of things and stuff, that would be super interesting for people as well.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. But so we thought, kind of, what better way to get this series kicked off than getting to know us. So we're just gonna delve into a little bit about us, how we've ended up where we are, a little bit about our background and stuff like that, and and then hopefully we'll get the guests lined up and make this a common occurrence.
Yeah, I think we're going to try and do it monthly to start off with, and depending on how things go, we'll try and boost that up to be a more regular feature on the block as well. So most of you probably don't know that me and Toby are actually friends outside of crypto. We're both from the UK, both grew up in Nottingham together, both went to school together actually. And it was Toby that got me into crypto in the first place with
Worked him in kicking and screaming.
But I think it was Comfy that you got me into first, wasn't it?
It was Comfy Token, yeah.
I remember sitting in bed with you giving me updates like every half an hour on how the how it was going, and I can't remember how much you initially invested into that project.
About £3,000.
And I think you were sending me screenshots of this token just flying up in value, and it was over £100,000. I think it once.
Yeah. I think it went up to about £130,000 or something like that from a £3,000 investment.
So understandably, from that moment on, I was like, "Wow, there is some money to be made in this space. I am getting involved."
And yeah, that wasn't my first instance into the DeFi scene, but it started with a project called Hoge, if anyone is familiar with that. And again, that was just like a little experiment to me. I can't even do the maths on it now. Let me have a quick look. So originally that was it was a $100 investment, and I was gobsmacked when I lost half my money on fees due to Ethereum gas fees, and I was like, okay, I've just lost half my investment. Like I didn't realize that it doesn't matter how much you put in, the gas fees would have been the same, because this was just all an experiment to me. But anyway, yeah. So I ended up with a $50 investment, and at the peak it was worth $11,000. So that was my first entry into DeFi was a 220x. So yeah, that's what got me hooked. And then
when was that again, Toby? What year did you get into it?
Into DeFi, it would have been 21, I think. Like, was it?
Start 21, because I came in November 21.
Yeah. So it was, it was when just before SafeMoon launched and all that lot. So I think it was early 21, March 21 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously before that it was just regular blue chips and things like that.
When would you say you bought your first crypto then with your blue chips?
That would have been a year or so prior. But it started off with stocks for me. I was just looking for something to do with some spare money, and then I read a book. I can't remember the author. It was Paul Visser sent it to me, actually. Yeah. He bought the book for me. He's like, "You got to read this book," and it was something like how to be a millionaire, something along them lines. And the guy in it made valid points. He was talking about the fact that you could invest into stocks and you can get a regular 8% per year, and they've done that for the last 50 years. So I started with that, and it was a little bit slow moving for me. And then I came across crypto. I liked it. It was a bit more exciting, and I ended up moving all of my stock portfolio over into crypto. And then I found DeFi, and then yeah, that's another beast.
And that's where I came in as well. I did a bit of stocks as well. I remember a mate told me about a pharmaceutical company that was launching a product that was going to do really good for asthma patients. So, and he was expecting good results from this study trial.
Yeah.
So I actually tried to get a £5,000 loan from the bank. This was years ago, and they asked what it was for, and I told them stocks, and they were like, "No, we're not giving you the money." They would have given me if I'd said house improvements or something. So I made my first mistake there. I'm kind of glad I did.
Yeah, what happened to the stock?
Well, so I bought in, and then 2 days later the results were announced, and it did. I think it did like a 3 or 4x, which in stocks and shares terms is obviously absolutely mental. When you think about crypto, it's like, oh, that's just nothing. But
Yeah.
in shares, that's like amazing. Problem was, I obviously had no experience, so I just kept it in and kept it in and kept it in.
Well, yeah,
And
we've been there, haven't we? You know.
yeah, in the end, because I couldn't get this loan, I put £800 of my own money into it, and this was when I was younger as well, so that was a lot of money to me, and I cashed it out actually a couple of years ago, and I think I got about £100.
£100 profit.
No,
Oh
£100.
wow, okay. Oh, that's not
So
£700 loss then.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
fair.
that's
That's a daily occurrence for me now.
exactly. That's the ups and downs of crypto nowadays. You just go with those swings.
But you
But
know, like on that point though, that's one of the scary things that like I've found really weird. Like obviously when I first started going down this road, like it meant a lot. You know, there was a lot of money. £1,000 was a lot of money to me. And then you know it reached a point where they just became, and it's scary, but it's kind of good in the same way. But like they were just numbers on the screen. There
yeah,
was no value there anymore. Like it
yeah,
wasn't like I was sitting on £130,000 on that comfy token, for example. I just started to see numbers, and the reason I say it's good is because I was kind of it was the start of my emotional detachment from it. Like and there's a lot of big people who always say, don't put your emotions into trading. And once I stopped seeing the money value of it, then the emotions almost went as well.
yeah. 100%. That's what you need within trading, isn't it? Like totally detach yourself. You cannot get emotionally involved.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there was lessons learned there. Like you said, I just watching it go up and up and up and up, and realistically, things like that, they just can't go up forever.
No, no, no. They can only go one way, can't they? But at the same time, it's like it's that risk tolerance and working out when is the right time to
Yeah,
take out and getting greedy, not getting greedy even. Like it's so difficult when you see that chart just climbing and climbing and climbing. You just think it's going to go forever, and it's not until you go through the cycle and realize, what can happen, that you just have to take out profits and be happy with that.
yeah, 100%. And like you say, it's something everybody has to go through, and there's people that will learn from that, and there's people that won't. Like, and you've got to take away what you learn and put it going into your next stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's one of the mottos I live by. Like, literally, make mistakes and learn from them. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
Because until you go through it yourself, it doesn't mean anything. Toby and I can tell you, do this, do that, don't do that, but until you actually experience it yourself, you're not really going to appreciate it and learn from it. So when you see you buy into a project in a bull run, and it's just climbing and climbing and climbing, you're thinking, I put in 1,000, it's at 100,000, but I could be a millionaire. I think it's going to go to 1 million. And then it inevitably doesn't, and it falls back down, and you're thinking, I can't take it out now. It's gone down 20 grand. I'll wait for it to go back up again. And then before you know it, it's back down to a couple of grand and stuff. So until you go through that emotional roller coaster and go through them, you can't learn from those experiences without doing it yourself.
Yeah, the FOMO on DeFi is certainly real on the up and the down. When it's going up, you want to hold on forever because you think this is the one. And then on the way down, you can see the people FOMOing out as well because they're scared of the dip for it only to go back up again.
Mm-hmm.
But talking of mistakes, then, right, what's your biggest regret in terms of crypto then at the minute?
It's a tough one, thinking about regrets, because I've always said, like, I never have regrets in life.
Yeah.
It's like that. You just learn.
All right. Okay. What was your biggest lesson? Let's look at it a different way.
Biggest lesson.
Yeah, biggest lesson or learning point. SSB might have been a good one. I don't know.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, that was a good lesson for me, definitely, because that was my first proper investment into crypto. You'd obviously done really well with Comfy, and I was ready to start putting my money in. And I remember you texted me saying, "I've got a good one for you, mate. It's called Satoshi Street Bets." And I was like,
Deegans of all Deegans.
Yeah. Proper shitty token. But anyway, like, at the time it didn't matter because we were, we're still in the bull run. This was November 2021. So right at the peak of the bull run. Every token was doing amazing. It was harder to lose money unless you got into some rug pulls. And so I was like, right, I'm ready. I did 2 minutes of research, like you do when you first start out in crypto. One of your mates tells you there's a good token, you jump on the bandwagon. Learned how to get my MetaMask set up and all that type of stuff. Made a few mistakes with that, like Toby was saying with his fees. I think I sent some money to some random dead wallet.
I think you sent it to the contract address, if I remember right.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, Toby, what are you doing? Why aren't you telling me what to do? Right, getting all pissed off at you. But in reality, it was my fault, obviously. And then I put in my $1,500. I put into this one. This was my very first investment. Stupid amount of money, really, when you think about it. I had no experience, just FOMOing in based on the previous good experience from you, Toby. And luckily, it did amazing, didn't it, to be fair? I think on launch, on first day, it did like an 8x. And there was a lot. The guy who was heading it up was a good talk, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, definitely.
And he was bringing in some new things to the space in terms of how he was creating this hyper deflationary token, and he was talking about staking. And we take all that stuff for granted now, but at the time, for a lot of us, that was all quite new. And there was a platform that you could go on, check your tokens, and then every few seconds, I remember sending you a video screenshot, Toby, of these tokens going up every few seconds. I was like, oh my God, I'm making money every few seconds. I was like, this is amazing. Not realizing the implication of that and the fact that actually whales were using that as an opportunity to sell.
Yeah.
They were getting these staking rewards and just selling them off, and that was just, and not allowing the chart to climb any further. But luckily, there was a lot of like strong holders at that stage. Everybody's holding because they all thought each token was going to make them $1 million and stuff. So that I did definitely learn from that about project owners, about different things that projects can use to try and keep holders hodling, as they call it. And luckily, I realised what was going on, and I took $9,500 profit, or that was my
Yes.
total value, and that basically was what started me out with my portfolio and allowed me to then really, really learn the space. Because previous to that, I I was in business. I had my own business. I had a couple of businesses, and decided to jack it all in and to go into crypto full time. So from November 2021 is when I started in crypto and immediately went full time into crypto.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry for that, mate.
well, this is the thing. I remember us saying at the time, like, man, this is amazing. Like, this is the now. It is definitely the future, and we need to make money from this as quickly as possible. Not having obviously any experience in anything, and then thinking we have no experience, especially in a bear market. Like, what is going to happen during the bear market? Can we still make money? Yeah, of course we can, because we're making tons of money now, or we can make tons of money. Surely it'll be fine in the bear market, and then all of a sudden, a year later, you realize, oh, actually, this is not so great.
Yeah,
But
but like we just spin it on the head, don't we? Like now, it's like when I first brought you into crypto, I was probably naive to everything myself a little bit, in the DeFi kind of scene, anyway. And I learned a lesson by bringing you into comfy late, and I regretted that a little bit. Like there's not many people that I would bring into it, because a lot of people, you've got an appreciation of risk. I knew you had an appreciation of risk and stuff like that.
yeah,
But in hindsight, at the time, when I look back, after that, and I think there was something else after that I got you into, and I think that was resulted in a small loss as well, because I got you in at the tail end of it. But then obviously SSB was the game changer. At that point, I realized a lot of DeFi projects are built to last.
mm-hmm.
But like you say, now we've been through the bull run, but now's the time to be looking at projects with real utility, people that are building things, not just Ponzi schemes that
Mm-hmm.
most of the DeFi is made up of, unfortunately. But amongst all that, there is some real gems out there, and not only that, but at the bottom of a bear market, even all the blue chips, there's good money to be made there now. So it's just appreciating the market cycle, I think, and jumping from one to the other. Like, if you're into DeFi, wait for the run to come back. But now's the time to be looking at strong utility projects and blue chips and stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is definitely. Just going back to the lessons learned and mistakes and stuff. What would you say was your biggest regret or mistake? I think I know what this is, but
Well, yeah, I've probably got a few, to be fair. But here's the funny thing: it took me well over a year of DeFi to ever actually get a rug pulled. And the first time I got rug pulled, I actually took out my initial investment and some profit. So I got rugged for about 4 or 5 ETH, and when ETH was, a few $1,000s, but I'd already taken profit on it. So I was kind of like, it's not the end of the world. But I was disappointed when I got my first ever rug pull, because I'd done so well up until that point, and in doing research and stuff. Well, I thought I had.
well, I think this is the thing, isn't it, with like rug pulls and research and stuff. It doesn't matter what research you do, especially within the shitcoin scene. There's always going to be a few that get through the net and stuff. And I remember the same thing, thinking, getting into one project where it happened, and up to then you're thinking you're really clever. Nobody's going to get me, and then
Yeah.
it happens to you. Or another example is when I got that con, through
Oh,
Telegram. Yeah,
yeah.
through so that you and I, Toby, were both involved in the project in terms of investing in it. And then I remember I took my daughter to nursery. It was like 7:30 in the morning. I just got back in the car, quickly checked the project. What was it? Was it Everearn?
I think it was Everearn, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
Everearn.
it was reflecting BUSD, wasn't it,
That
or
was it. That
reflecting
was it.
some stable coin?
And it was doing really well. And I got this notification on Telegram saying, "Oh, because we've got so many holders now, we're going to do a free giveaway of so many BUSD or whatever their staking rewards was given out at the time." So I was like, oh, "Okay, cool." Clicked on the link, linked it to my MetaMask. All of a sudden, all
Bam.
my BUSD's gone. It was obviously a scam link, and like I was tired, I wasn't thinking properly. I felt like a right idiot, but again, you just learn from that, don't you? And no, never to click on scam links, never connect your wallet up to anything other than trusted sites.
Yeah, that's it. But it's like you say, it's all a lesson, isn't it? That was
Yeah,
a few $100 lesson for you.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's what it is. But regrets, like I mean, I'm a bit like you. I don't really regret anything. Like everything leads you on to where you are today, doesn't it? In a way, but one that sticks in my mind was Evergrow. So that was yeah, a couple of B&B investment that if I'd held on to for a couple of weeks longer would have been worth $4 million. Whether you would have got that out after whatever's left in the liquidity, but yeah,
I mean, yeah, that is absolutely mental and understandable that you would like think about that afterwards. Like, what actually went through your mind then, thinking that I could have been a millionaire?
well, you know, like the thing that this just sounds really weird, but the first thing that went through my mind was like, it's all right. There'll be other opportunities. Like, it doesn't concern me. The only time it's come back to haunt me a little bit was actually at the start of this bear market, and I'm thinking, yeah, if I'd had the $4 million now, I could be doing some real damage.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, yeah, there'll be other opportunities. You know, I'm not too worried about it. Um,
Well, I think at that time, crypto was just on fire, wasn't it? And it felt
yeah,
like every
yeah,
project was just mooning. And so, like you say, it was just a case of when's the next one coming, and you don't need to worry about it. So that that your mindset then was, okay, cool, let's get on the next one so I can be a millionaire. I guess if that had happened now, it would have been a different thought process for you, wouldn't it?
yeah,
Given that there's so little opportunities right now.
yeah, 100%. Like there is less opportunities now, but at the same time, it's just different opportunities, right?
Yeah.
You know, we're not looking at the same kind of thing anymore. The shitcoin scene for the minute in a bear market is not going to go anywhere. It has left me wondering whether it will ever be the same or not. You know, looking at previous events, you've had different metas, so to speak. You know, there was a point where ICOs was all a big thing, and there was so many ripples going on with that. Like people were just jumping in, thinking they're going to be the earliest investors to this project, and so some of them did all right, but then most of them turned out to be scams. And then the DeFi scene really took off. The likes of like SafeMoon and stuff like that. I was early into SafeMoon as well, by the way. But yeah, that was again when I looked at things bigger, like when I looked at the bigger picture, I realized there was some other stuff happening there. So I ended up coming out of that before that really took off. But yeah, like there's just different opportunities now. So adapt. We'll see what's next, and ride out this bear market, build a nice portfolio, and then we'll see what happens. See where the space evolves into. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about the shitcoin space and whether it'll ever be the same again. What do you think?
I do. I do. Yeah, I do think it will come back and it'll be hot again. I think, we talk about people coming into the space and figures fly around in terms of percentages of how many people are within crypto at the moment, and adoption, improving and growing all the time. So I think the next bull run, the shitcoin scene will light up again.
Yeah, you're probably right. You
Yeah,
can't. People will always be greedy as well, won't they?
that's it. Yeah,
It's
when as soon as you start seeing like the Safe Moons and those types of projects that came in and made people millionaires. They're the headline stories that get people into crypto for the first time again. So at the start of the next bull run, I'd imagine that is what's going to happen again. New people are going to come into the space, don't have a clue. They're going to come in, buy a couple of tokens, hope they're going to be a millionaire from it, hodl, and probably lose money. But hopefully they'll learn from that and stay within the space as well, because we all know it's here to stay and here to grow and develop and be the main currency of the future. We've got banks introducing CBDCs soon. They are all taking it super seriously. So we know that it's the future. It's just like how soon that is. But just going back to mistakes and us, learning from those and the experiences that we've gained, what advice would you give to people joining crypto for the first time now?
That's joining in now. You're joining at the best possible time, in my opinion. Yeah. Near the bottom of a bear market, whether we're at the bottom or we've not seen the bottom yet, so that's another story. But
let's touch on that quickly then. So if somebody is coming joining for the first time, I know you are of the camp that the bottom's still not in yet. So what would you advise people to do?
I was of that camp, and now all the technical analysis is saying that the bottom is in, but I just can't get my head around that. I don't want to believe it with all the macroeconomics that's going on. I know, a bottom happens before a recession happens and stuff. It's almost lagging. So the chart will bottom out, and then the recession will happen, but the bottom's already happened. But I don't know, something feels different to me this time. Whatever happens, we're still going to be going retesting where we were. So there's still going to be an opportunity for me somewhere near the bottom if I decide to get back in then. But the key's dollar cost averaging for me. Set aside what you want to do, put in what you can afford every month. And I'm not talking about shit coins here. I'm talking about blue chips and projects that offer some real utility, and that you can actually see making changes in the space. So just average in, average out. That's the way to do it. And what about you?
Yeah, yes, the same, I guess. And just do your research as well. There is so much to learn in this space. I think
it's a steep learning curve, especially.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think it's good advice, really. Average in, average out, taking profits. But for me, it all depends on why you're coming into this space. Are you coming to make money from crypto? Are you coming to learn? Are you coming to use your expertise? Have you got coding experience that you want to develop? So you want to go down the whole Solidity route. So first of all, look at what you want to do. So let's take making money from crypto as the example, which presumably is what most people want to do coming into this space. For me, it's work out your risk tolerance. If you want to make some risky trades, you want to be going down the shit coin scene, because that's where the X's are made, but it's also where a hell of a lot of losses are made. So if you want to be more risk averse, you can go down the whole blue chip route with your whole Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then work out your personal strategy as well based on your circumstances. So, how much money do you want to invest into crypto? I'd never suggest putting a lot of meaningful money into it because it clouds your judgment. So you want to be dipping your toes in, basically, and finding out what works, learning from your experiences so that you can build it up if you feel that that's the best strategy for you. But also, how quickly do you want to make money? Is this like a short-term strategy to make some money, or is this a retirement plan? Do you see crypto being the main currency in 20 years' time and you can live off this for the rest of your life? Work out what is your strategy, learn, develop, and then hopefully that will allow you to make money, but make sure you take profits along the way. Like Toby said, average in, average out, take profits.
Yeah, I can get behind that philosophy. It's like one of my key bits of advice would be, if you're gonna play shitcoin roulette, treat it as that. It is a roulette a lot of the time. Set some funds aside if that's what you want to do, and just have a set budget, and then put some money into something that's here for the long term as well. Like some of your top 10, not all of the top 10, but have a look at the top 10. There's money to be made there. So what's keeping you here, Mark? Like, why are you still in crypto then? Why are you riding through this bear market?
Yeah, I mean, I probably questioned that myself a couple of times more recently. Um, well, at the end of the day, we're here to make money. I'm here to make money. I see crypto as the future and the best opportunity possible to make money. You can, compare it to the dot-com boom and wishing that you could go back in time, invest in some of these Amazons and the like. So for me, it's, we're still so early in the process of adopting cryptocurrency. And as that becomes more mainstream, there's going to be so much money to be made along the way. So, but not only that, I don't want it to seem as though like I'm greedy, because for me, like, money is important because it gives you opportunities, but it's like that whole success element as well, and like feeling good about making the right decision. So when you've done your research into a project and you've found what you deem is that gem, and it's then validated by everybody else getting in, and you making money off it and the project becoming successful, it's like that feel good factor of knowing, like knowing that you were right. And just like generally speaking, just what keeps me in is like constantly wanting to know more and understand and learn about the space. Like we've said it a couple of times already, but there is so much to learn and you cannot stop learning within the space, whether that's, if you want to go down the coding route or the trading route or just investing and learning about projects and what makes them tick, what makes them work, good marketing strategies. There's just so much to learn. You literally cannot stop learning. So, all those elements combined just like get me excited. What about you, Toby?
Yeah, similar kind of thing, really. Like, obviously, the fact that you can make money in it is is beneficial. Um, but like, I mean, originally, I think a lot of people have this kind of dream of being financially free, right?
Yeah,
That's probably my ultimate goal. Like, and I found it all the way through life. Like when I'm working for other companies and stuff, like you get tired of putting your heart and everything into everything you do. Like it doesn't matter what I was doing, I was always trying to be the best at what I was doing, like to the best of my abilities. You know what I mean? Whether I was like working in a call center, like I would always give it my 100%. And then you kind of I got to a point where I was just like, I'm tired of giving everybody else 100%. Like I need to give myself 100% and do something for me. And like all through my life now, like even now, I'm in a really good job. I've got a good career. It pays well and the pension's good and stuff. But it's not what it's not my goal. It's not like where I've it's not where I see myself. Crypto just gives me that extra bit of challenge that I kind of wanted. I was a bit like you, and I've always wanted to set up my own business and stuff, but I've never really. My brain's always thinking about what it could be. What could I do? This could I do that? But I've never really found that niche that I wanted to do. Crypto's letting me kind of explore that avenue. So that's half the reason I'm still here. But the fact that I'm making money at the same time, then what is there to argue about? Like, it's almost it's not a hobby, so to speak, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's the difference, isn't it, with crypto and with like being employed and stuff, is that opportunity to do this properly, do it full time, make money from it, but it be fun at the same time, not feeling like it's work.
Yeah.
When you have a job and you have a career, it's not, it is, that's what it is. You, People can enjoy the jobs, obviously. Like I've enjoyed jobs previously. Like one standout was Boots head office. In the men's gift buying team. Like I loved that job, but at the same time, it was never going to give me the opportunities that I wanted it to. In
Mm.
terms of, like you said, about financial freedom, and also just being in that environment where you're making money for somebody. You are in by me doing a really good job and buying a really good range that's going to increase our margin and make the company X amount more profit. It's not going to go to me.
No. Yeah. You're making someone else rich
I'm
at the
still
top of
giving
that
that
chain.
same wage. So when you like go into that's it. Yeah, yeah. So like I've always had the mindset of why would I want to work for somebody else to be on the yacht when I can work for my own yacht? You know, it's like it's crazy to me. So that's what crypto gives us the opportunity to do, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. So what else have you been doing before this then? Like,
So obviously, like I said, I explained about boots. That was my first, like proper in inverted commas career job after coming out of university. So before then, I had like two dreams. Like one was to join the police service, and that was what I geared my future to be right from being a little kid. Doing law at A level.
when
I did
when you were a little kid and we were firing Johnny Poppers over the fence and stuff.
We did actually do that, didn't we?
We did, but yeah, yeah.
And those little spud guns as well.
Oh, no, the spud guns, they were fun, man. If anyone
Um,
anyone who doesn't know what a Johnny Popper is, it's basically the finger of a rubber glove tied over a bit of pipe with some tape on, and you'd put like ammunition in it, whether it be stones or little pebbles or whatever, and you pull the finger back and it flies out at like 100 miles an hour. Yeah, great,
well,
great, great free fun.
yeah, I don't think we'll go into detail about the types of things that we
No, that's not.
Johnny popped, not incriminate ourselves.
Especially if
But
that dream's still alive of being a police officer.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I think my nickname at school from a couple of kids was Mark PC Bobby Dodson, and so everybody knew me as the guy that wanted to join the police service. So yeah, I did a degree in criminology, attempted to get in a couple of times following my degree, and failed at the assessment centre because I just put way too much pressure on myself. It's something that I wanted to do as a little kid, and I just put too much pressure on myself, so failed. So, and every time you apply for the fire service within the UK, you have to wait 6 months then to reapply. So it's a massive thing to do that and fail and then have to wait and stuff. So in the meantime, like I said, I had two dreams. One was to own my own business. One was for the police service. So after that, I joined Boots. Was in the buying team. That gave me great insight into how the business world works, but it wasn't enough for me.
Yeah,
I didn't get that business side of things, like for me
that
personally. So
satisfaction almost like it just wasn't there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I said, I really loved that job, but it wasn't enough. I wanted to make money for myself, so that's when I started up my own mobile catering company, so a fish and chip business, and we specialised. I say we because it was myself and my wife at the time, while she had a full-time job. So I was in it full time, and we concentrated on weddings, parties, corporate functions, and got to the stage where I did grow that business and it was like my baby. I was super proud of that. We catered for massive public events, Leeds, Reading, V Festival. We had multiple units in the end and I was employing people. But, after about 8 years of doing that, like it got to the point where I realized that I'd grown it to a point that I couldn't take it any further and it wasn't enough for me. So during that time, I was always thinking of, what is that business that's going to make me a millionaire? What is, but not just the money side of things. What is it that's going to make me, what's going to be successful? What's going to make me feel like I've succeeded in life? And for me, that was creating a brand. So one day I was walking in a shopping centre with my wife and came up with the idea of a digital version of paper loyalty stamp cards. And at the time, they didn't exist. So I spent basically 18 months trying to develop a digital version of those stamp cards and put about £25,000 of my own money into that. And got to the point where we launched the app and had loads and loads of issues along the way. Basically, what I've realized after all that time and that money spent was that I needed a hell of a lot more money in order to make it a success. And I didn't know about venture capitals and securing funding, anything like that at that time. So I reluctantly gave that up. And yeah, and then obviously alongside that, I was still carrying on with the mobile fish and chip business, but it was waning. My passion for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when this opportunity came up to start getting into crypto, and I've loved every second ever since, and I do feel like this is my passion 100%, and this is what I want to be doing for the future. So that's where we're at now, and I think that's where this is where I want to be for the foreseeable,
Well,
100%.
let's just talk about the fish and chips for a minute, because you once served fish and chips to Simon Cowell, didn't you?
I actually did. Yeah. Yeah, got offered the opportunity to go and cater for the Britain's Got Talent judges. So if anybody knows that, well, I think there's America's Got Talent. There's probably every other country's talent nowadays, isn't there? But yeah, so we were filmed catering for the judges live as well. So there was Simon Cowell, Amanda Holden. Who else was on there?
Was it Alicia Dixon at the time?
Alicia Dixon, yeah, and David Williams. So that was a super cool experience. To be fair, yeah, I mean, it was an amazing time. We got to do some really cool things. I catered for somebody's birthday party in this £6 million home. He put out one of our fish and chip vans on a ferry to the Isle of Man.
Oh wow!
Yeah, crazy the type of money that flies around with things like that. But yeah, some super cool things.
That is super crazy. That's next level though. That is getting a fish and chip van on a ferry,
Yeah, literally. I mean, yeah, and that's the type of thing that inspires you as well.
Yeah.
I didn't go over there and think, oh my god, this guy's got so much money. Why has he got it and I don't? No, it literally
Just
inspired me.
spurred you on. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. He showed me around his house, of all these orange glow up tables. Oh, it was just absolutely inspiring. It made me want to, create that for myself as well. But yeah, so obviously, like I say, crypto is my absolute passion now, and I think that is the future. It's what I want to do for the foreseeable. What about you? What's your background, Toby? Tell everybody.
Wow. I mean, it's not quite as colourful as yours, I don't think. I've just been a guy with fingers in every pie. I don't know. I feel like, at the time when we finished school, it was 16 that you finished school. I think now we've extended it to 18, haven't they?
Yeah.
But at that point in my life, at 16 years old, life had been challenging before then. I won't go into too much detail, but it was never easy. But it probably took me to that age to realise that I actually wanted to do something different with my life, and not blame circumstances and stuff. So 16 is kind of I still didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. like no idea about direction or anything like that, and I felt like at that point you're forced into making a decision, and yet there's still a sense of immaturity about you at that age. And I feel like there could be a lot more done to help people with their direction and stuff about where they want to go with their life at school age. But anyway, so yeah, I left school and did bits and bobs. Like went to a garden centre for a bit, worked there for 2 days, went to a call centre. Like nothing ever satified me. And
What was the call center? What was that? Were you
oh
like
man,
sailing?
it was disgusting. It was a cold call center. I can't even remember what we were cold calling people about. I lasted 2 days there, but so we went into this call center, and I never even actually got paid for them 2 days. I was, but anyway, like I was a smoker at the time, so still am a smoker. But yeah, here's the thing about that place: the managers were allowed to walk around the office. It's a big open office, and they're allowed to walk around smoking and stuff, whereas the people doing the calls and stuff weren't. And it was bizarre, mate. So it was like a room full of smoke. You were calling people about something, I can't remember what. Nobody was interested in talking to you, and yeah, it just wasn't for me. Like, I'm not. I can't sell something I don't believe in. Like it boils down to that. Like, like
Was it the whole script thing as well? Did you have
yeah,
like
it was a
script in front of you?
whole
Yeah.
script thing, mate. It was horrible. Wasn't definitely one for me. So I decided to go to college, and don't ask me why, but I decided to study tourism. What was it? It wasn't business and tourism. It was travel and tourism at college, and then I ended up working a couple of jobs at the same time as doing that. One of which was for TUI, which was a travel company. But I much enjoyed the foreign exchange side to it rather than selling holidays and stuff like that. So the numbers made me tick. Like working in the foreign exchange was just a lot better. And then from there, I went on to uni to do tourism and business management. Again, still no direction about what I really wanted to do in my life. Just going along with the flow that everybody sees as the right thing to do. Like go to college, do this. In reality, it's probably one of my biggest regrets because now I work in an industry. It's got nothing to do with that, but landed myself in £20,000 worth of debt, like to study something that made other people around me happy. I don't know. But yeah, obviously that's all paid off now and that, but it's still something I could have done without. But again, like I said, it all takes you on the path to where you go. So yeah, I worked there. I worked for in the UK. It was a company called Game Station, which got bought out by Game. I worked for them for quite a while. Worked my way up there. What else have I done?
Worked your way up there? Did you say?
Yes, I started as a Christmas temp just while I was at college, and I ended up working up to assistant manager.
Oh, I didn't even realise that.
Yeah, it was all in about 6 months. I went from Christmas temp to just fully employed staff, and then to supervisor to assistant manager. And you know what? I enjoyed that because it was a hobby of mine back then, like gaming a bit. But I don't get so much time for it now. I've got kids. But yeah, like I really enjoyed that job of it because I was doing something that I almost like it goes back to doing something that selling something that I believed in. People come in and spoke about something and they're like, oh, what's this? Like I would give my honest opinion, and that's one of my core attributes, to be honest with you, is just being honest about everything. I can't hide behind a shitty sales script or something like that. I am what it is. I am what I am, and if I don't believe in something, I can't get behind it. It's as simple as that.
And that probably helps your gaming addiction as well.
Oh yeah,
because I remember us back in the day, we used to have these all-night gaming nights and stuff with all our mates together, getting these £4 pizzas in between us. But I also remember, weren't you like one of the top 100 scores?
Yes.
Xbox?
So Xbox has got a gamer score, hasn't it? And I was like in the top 100 in the world gamer score wise. I mean, I don't know what it is now, but like I haven't been onto it for ages. But yeah, I used to basically complete everything I ever played. So I was building my way up there, and then that kind of, you're not really going to do anything with it. I mean, I could have technically like gone into streaming or something like that. That would have been quite fun. But
I
yeah,
know, but back in the day, there wasn't really like the appetite for things like YouTube streamers or like
no, not really. Yeah, you're right.
gamers wait, because like otherwise that could have been an avenue potentially that you could have gone down in terms of like earning money from gaming.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like, to be fair, like I earned quite a bit of money on the side from Game Station because I mean this was the business side to me that comes out. But like people would come in and sell stuff. Like obviously, that you could either trade stuff in or sell stuff for cash, and sometimes the cash price was that poor. But like a lot of stuff went unbarcoded, so like you'd have special editions of stuff. Like one that springs to mind is like the night vision goggle set. So it was like a Call of Duty that came with a full night vision goggle headset. Um, and yeah, people would bring it in, and because it wasn't on a barcode, it basically have a price of like 99p when it was resold. So they'd get like 10p in cash for it. But like obviously me being the person I am, I'd say, look, mate, like you're about to sell this for 10p. You could stick it online and get like 50, 100 quid for it. Why don't you do that? No, it's all right. I just want to get rid of it. So things like that used to come behind the till, and I just whack my name on them straight away. And then when I left the company, I had like a stockpile of stuff to sell, and yeah,
No way.
I made a few thousand selling like special edition games and stuff like that. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, and then after that, what else did I do? Oh, I went on to drive buses for a bit. I was driving buses for a little while, and then eventually found myself on the railway where I've been for about 8 years. And yeah, I enjoyed the railway. I teach people to drive trains now. Um, the only thing for me is there's no there's no there's nowhere to go from there because there's no progression in terms of terms and conditions. Like I could do something else and get slightly more money, but it would mean a degrade to my terms and conditions. So for now, I'm just doing that, and then obviously found myself in crypto like three years ago, or maybe more now. Is it 4 years ago? Like properly, anyway. When I first started properly getting into it, and yeah, so like we started up LCL together, and then yeah, that's led us on to where we are today in Blockstar.
Oh yeah, I was going to say we haven't really spoken about that, have we? So like, obviously you got into crypto, started buying projects. Same with me. You got me involved, started buying projects and stuff. I think then we both realised not necessarily a gap in the market, but an opportunity for us to be able to, come into the space, put our stamp on it by creating an AMA lounge, and that's where we really like started going into it full time, wasn't it? More
Yeah,
behind the scenes.
yeah. For me, it was like, I mean, I was spending hours doing research into projects anyway, so it kind of made sense for us to get together, do it publicly, basically grill projects publicly, like do the research we were doing behind the doors anyway, but let everyone else get involved in that as a platform for people to do their own research. And I still think there is one of the key things that's missing in this space is transparency, and
Yeah.
people being honest and open, and like there's a big gap in that. Like, so yeah.
And it's not even in the shitcoin scene, is it? Like we've seen with like a lot of these major tier one
Yeah.
tokens, in these exchanges, like that are just going bankrupt.
Yeah, take
If you haven't
FTX
got
for example. Like
yeah,
it
that's a
does the
classic
space
example.
no favors, and in terms of adoption, all it's going to do is slow us down. Like, and it's a shame to see it, but again, it comes down to people's own greed. Like, they're putting that before the space as a whole. Like the whole idea behind LCL was just creating a group where people could like research projects and come for an honest opinion. right? It was never about really making money
Yeah,
for
we
us off
you
the
know,
back
because
of that.
a lot of the problems as well is like influencers and loungers get paid,
Yep.
you know, to to interview tokens and projects, and the issue with that is you can, even it's subconsciously paint these projects in a better picture than the reality is. So we were always really conscious, weren't we, of making sure that we just asked the right questions to try and give listeners, a better understanding of these projects as a whole,
Yep.
and try and unearth any like dodgy goings on as well. I think, like, because obviously we've still got the YouTube channel up for Legit Crypto Lounge. We've done over 50 AMAs, I think, in the end, wasn't it? And that was within a really short space of time. Like November 2021 is when I got into the space. We didn't start the Legit Crypto Lounge until like the January of
That's right.
2022. So yeah, we hit it quite hard, didn't we? And that was like in itself like a massive learning curve for us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Learning
Yeah. Like
about
when,
all these different types of projects and what makes them tick, but all of the different features that you can have within a project to make it, like work.
yeah, it was a big learning curve, and I mean we can see that when we've gone back and looked at our first ever AMAs and things like that, and how it's progressed and how much we've got to know the space because of them.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
definitely. And obviously that is how we got involved in Blockstar in the first place, wasn't it? Because it was David Hunter that got in touch with us and said, "Look, I've got this project. Do you want to find out more information about it?" He gave us this 60-page
yeah,
document on what he was creating, because what we now realize is like an absolute monster. But we were so used to dealing with projects that had come in and say, "Oh, look at my website. I've got a white paper. We're going to introduce staking," and it's like, at the time that was sufficient to be able to do well.
yeah.
But
It was like the core three things of a project was like, oh yeah, we're going to have staking and we're going to be an NFT marketplace. Like,
yeah,
and there was one more as well. What was the other big thing that people used to do? Oh, I guess it was burning, like buyback and
oh
burn. Like
yeah,
we're going to be a buyback and burn NFT marketplace, and everyone was just doing the same thing, and it was just like, wow, this is getting boring now. Like, but yeah, like you say,
reflections as well. That
reflections. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But like, obviously, Dave got in touch with us and told us about his project, and it like is like a monster. Like we say, it's. I know he was personally developing it for 2 or 3 years before we even got in touch with him, and it was a year later down the line that he gave us the opportunity then to join full time with the team and do this type of thing, host podcasts for updates on how Blockstar is doing, but also just general podcasts and YouTube content for so that we can help create adoption within this space and get people more involved and be able to learn the right way rather than getting caught up in all of the hype, especially with YouTube influencers who get paid to promote a token. And I've had family members who have said, "Oh, I've invested in this token. I watched this YouTube video. This guy says it's the next best thing."
hmm
And it's like they don't realize that these people are just getting paid to promote.
yeah, and that's a shame, really, because quite often people's first experience of crypto can be a shady project promoted by some YouTube influencer, and it can be an expensive lesson, and it can be a lesson that means that they never return to crypto. So yeah, what difference do you want to make in crypto? I know that our goals align and stuff, and that they've always been the same when we created LCL, and then obviously transitioning into Blockstar. But what difference do you want to make in crypto, and how do you see the future for crypto?
Yeah, well, I think one of the reasons that we joined Blockstar and stuff was to be able to bring together and come on board with this platform that allows people to, learn and earn from crypto. But until there is regulation, decent regulation within the space, there's always going to be that opportunity for people to rug pull, for people to scam. So I think it's our responsibility to be able to help educate people and provide that learning platform so that, to reduce that risk of people getting rugged, for people to get scammed. So until that point comes, I think that is our responsibility and something that Blockstar will be focusing on. The scandals of FTX, things like that, are all the things that reduce the opportunity for mass adoption. So we need to be able to focus on that like right now until we can get some better governmental regulation.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. It's like one of the things that makes me quite happy with Blockstar is a group of good people who are slowly coming together to make one formidable team almost. Like I've always said that as we've grown through LCL, like it's always been good to keep the good people close, and make a difference together almost. Like one of my goals, like not like a goal so to speak, but obviously from LCL we ended up creating our private investment community, and it's going to be good to grow and make it with everyone there as well. And then the same with Blockstar. The community there, like knowing that everybody on board is getting into a good solid project. But yeah, there's I think there's a lot of stuff coming in the future in terms of regulations, and they are going to shape the industry somewhat. DeFi, I think, will be here to stay somewhat, but who knows what happens, whether KYC is end up being required for all devs in inverted commas. Not everybody's a dev, but everybody claims to be.
Well, I think it's getting that balance right as well, isn't it? Because people hide behind DeFi.
Yeah,
it's that opportunity to do shady stuff because they're not managed. They can do whatever the hell they want.
And that's a big thing for me now when I'm looking at projects. Is why the team hiding behind an anonymous name with an anonymous profile? Like, there's a reason there. Like, I'm transparent about who I am. I've got nothing to hide. So what are they trying to hide? Like, why not come out and say it? Why is there this big secret about the fact that it's DeFi? You have to stay hidden. Like just be honest with people. Like, it's a big thing. I know KYC and being doxxed isn't everything, but when I see someone who's not doxxed, it often makes me question why. Like, why are they not doxxed? But yeah, so future for crypto, I think, is going to be an interesting few years. No doubt, governments are going to try and get their hands on it, mold it how they want, try and get money out of it how they can. So it's going to be interesting, but the fact remains that anybody who's in the space now is, even if you've not got into DeFi yet and you're just into crypto, you're still very early. Like, I think is around, is it 4% or is it less? 4% of the world's population is in crypto right now. And, if you think of that 4%, how many is in DeFi, it's even smaller. So, yeah, the fact of the matter is everyone here now is early to it. So you'll be seeing it evolve and change as time goes on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, unless you can look through a crystal ball, you can't know what's going to happen. So, like we've already said about governments introducing CBDCs right now, as we're doing this podcast, that's super early days. Potentially, if you watch this podcast in 2 or 3 years' time, that's the standard already. Or does it take 5-10 years? Or does it not get adopted because there's been pushback and people want to go down the whole DeFi route and they fight against that centralized element and stuff. It's impossible to know, and that's why I think it's so important as well, which we haven't really touched on at the minute, is diversification. So if you are investing and you want to build some wealth, it's so important to diversify, because there are projects that are going to do really well, but there are projects, even if they do have an amazing team, amazing vision, and a product that's, game changing, for some unknown reason, it can fail. So having that diversified portfolio spread across different areas is really important, so that you can offset the bad against the good. Like I said, unless you've got a crystal ball, you just cannot predict what's going to happen, because crypto is so early, so young, so new, that we don't know properly what direction it's going to go in. So I guess an interesting question is, where do you see crypto in like 5 or 10 years, Toby?
Like it's interesting that I think we'll see key things coming out of here. I think at the minute there's almost too much saturation. Like there's too many projects trying to start up and be the next best thing. The reality is that a lot of them are using the same utilities or doing the same thing. Like there's going to be big ones emerge. I think Bitcoin will always be king. Bitcoin is what started this movement, and others have tried to adapt from that philosophy. And I think there will be other big players in there, but for me, Bitcoin's always going to be the store of value. It's the one that's seen as probably the biggest threat to the government and fiat as we know it. So yeah, it's like you say, without a crystal ball, it's hard to tell where we go. But I'm glad that I'm here really, and I'm glad that I'm going to see and learn and watch the space evolve.
And what I think is exciting as well is the fact that, like when I speak to friends who don't understand crypto still, and it's like this fake money. That in itself shows that there's plenty of money to be made. But also, a lot of people argue, Bitcoin was at $1 in 2008, or whatever it was, and it's the time has been and gone. For you to be able to make your money, we're too late. But the exciting thing is there are going to be some amazing projects that develop like now into the next bull run and beyond, who are right at the start now.
Yeah,
If you think of you,
you're not wrong. Like it is the funny thing with Bitcoin as well, like you just said there, is you're too late now. That's the story that I've seen and heard all the way up from when it was like, I mean, I looked at it briefly when it was new, but it looked a bit complex for me. And then $1,000, people are like, oh, have you heard of this Bitcoin? And I'm like, oh, it's too late now for Bitcoin. Like you should have
yeah.
bought it ages ago. Next thing you know, it's gone up to 10K, and it's like, yeah. But like you say, there's so many more opportunities going to be coming up in the space.
And this is it. It's not just about Bitcoin, is it? Because there's an opportunity for loads of other tokens to come into the space, and coins, tier one coins that do something game changing. So I know there's a lot of focus, and will be in the future, on what am I thinking of in terms of carbon footprint
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that side of things. I think that's going to be a big thing for the future. So projects, that they can focus on that element, and become like super efficient, will shine through as well. And there's not been a lot of focus on that right now. So projects like that can be super efficient, can like be carbon neutral. They're the ones that potentially are going to have a bright future as well. But that's just one example. There's loads of different areas that haven't been tapped into right now that will become massive in the future, and that's why I say it's exciting, because we can pick those out now as they develop and work out, try and predict future and work out, is this the one?
Mm-hmm.
Potentially, and diversify, put a little bit into that, and see which ones can take off. Because no, you're not going to make a 10,000x from Bitcoin anymore like you could have done 10, 15 years ago. But there's some giant X's to be made through other projects that are going to come through that are just about to start now. We're involved in Blockstar. It's at 6 million market cap right now. There's an ambition there to go to the billions of market cap. So that in itself is a massive opportunity. But like I say, there's tons of opportunities out there. As moving on from that, we've talked about crypto and where that's going to go in the future, but in terms of where you see yourself within crypto and like your future, Toby, where would you like to see yourself in like 5 years?
It's sat on a beach in somewhere like Thailand, working, and complaining at I can't see my laptop screen because the sun's so bright. Something like that, mate. But no, like it's just about me personally making a difference to everyone who's around us and been involved with us and grown with us, and seeing it all come together for everyone. If we can just touch one person's life and make a difference, then that's a big thing. For me personally, I want to be living financially free. I don't want to be putting my heart and soul into earning somebody else, a turnover of £8 million a year or whatever. So, but I'd be happy to just be financially free, knowing that the people around us have made it, and hopefully watched crypto take over certain aspects of the world, from whether you're paying for goods or stuff like that, and just seeing how it evolves, really. What about you?
Yeah, pretty similar, and that's why our values are aligned, aren't they? Financially free, I don't really like that term, but I understand the principle behind it, and money gives you opportunities, doesn't it? So it's what I would like, but just to, like you say, to touch one person, if we can inspire people to get into the space and make a success from it as well, then that would be, that would just be amazing.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Well, I guess it's a good time to sum up our little introduction episode. Hopefully it's given you guys a bit of insight into how we want to conduct things on the block. And we're planning to bring on guests, really get to know them, find out everything about them, from crypto to life to the type of person they are, and fun stories they've had along the way. So have you got anything else to say on that, Mark?
No, yeah, I think that's it. Like this is what we want to create, like bring on board special guests so they can talk about their life and what makes them tick, so we can try and understand what their vision for the future and where they see crypto and where they see their future as well, because those types of things are interesting as well. So obviously we've got a few names in mind that we'd love to get on board and have chats with, but if there's anybody in particular that you would like us to, interview, have a podcast with, chat to, find out more information about their life, their experience, where they want to go, where they see crypto going in the future, just let us know, and we'll try and open up some avenues and get them on board and get them in, because everybody's got a story to tell. Everybody's got some fun information, their previous background, history, where they see the space, and everybody's views are different as well. That's what makes it exciting as well.
Yeah,
we're aligned in some respects, but there's some different views as well about what's going to happen in the future. So it'd be good to get a diverse range of people in with different experiences to find out from.
Yeah, and while you're out there recommending people to get on the block, fire away with the questions that you want answering as well, because we want to make this experience personal. But there's no question that we're going to shy away from asking. If this is a good opportunity for them to tell us our story, then let's be asking those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully you find And that interesting. We weren't babbling on too much for you. It's giving you a little bit of insight into like us, what makes us tick, our background, why we're in the space and what we think the space is going to achieve in the future. I think obviously you can tell that we're both like super passionate about crypto, about where it's going in the future, and we look forward to taking you on this journey with us.
Yeah, I second that. Anyway, guys, so until the next episode of On the Block, we'll catch you soon.